A handwritten letter from a prison cell is now making serious allegations against powerful figures. But it was passed from inmate to stranger to cousin to officials. So the real question is this evidence or manipulation? Watch closely as we break down the journey of this letter, step by step, from the prison cell to the moment it landed in front of power.
Perhaps first just explain how you got this letter into your possession and whether you know who this person is who wrote the letter or allegedly wrote the letter. Have you verified the contents of this letter? Have you sought to authenticate the letter? Just give us some background to this letter before we go to the relevant parts, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. Honorable Chair, a cousin of mine stays in Johannesburg and she works in Johannesburg as well. She called me and told me that there is an information of someone in prison in Pretoria that wanted to see me and share information with me. But of course, I was in Devon and I could not just be in Pretoria, but I indicated to her that I'm going to be on my way to Pretoria, so if there's something that you want to share, I can meet up with you somewhere, collect whatever that you have collected and come and give it to me. And we made that arrangement. I traveled to Johannesburg and I met with her at, I think, Woodmead, if I'm not mistaken. And she gave me a handwritten document. And she gave me a bit of a background as to where does this handwritten document come from. So I took that and I was on my way to the Interpol conference in Morocco. I then thought I was going to be able to take time and read it and get to see whether what is written there can be of any assistance to anyone. So that's a background of how I got the letter. When I asked her how she received it herself, she said to me she got it from a gentleman who went to fetch this letter from prison, from a person who wrote it in prison. As you can see, the letter is not addressed to me. It's addressed to someone who I don't even know who the person is. I had to make an inquiry as to who is Ntlamulo. And my cousin then explained to me that Ntlamulo is a member of MK Party. I don't know if he's a spokesperson or what title does he have. But the person that wrote the letter is a friend or is a person who grew up with Ntlamulo. So he knows Ntlamulo very well. And as a result, that person was addressing this to Ntlamulo. And apparently the intention was to ask Ntlamulo to bring it to me. But it is said that Ntlamulo was not available. I think he was in Cape Town. And if I'm not mistaken, Ntlamulo would have sent his father to go and meet up with this person. And that's how the father collected this information. And that information was passed to my cousin, and that's how it got to me. So the person wrote like this, and I confirmed her whether can I present this thing before the committee, and he said, yeah, he's willing to testify. He's currently in one of the correctional centers in Gauteng, but no longer in Hosimapuru. And he had even put his name right at the bottom, because I thought we could redact the name in order to protect him. And he said, no, he doesn't mind. He can tell it as is. So that's why we have it here before us.
And this is a convicted prisoner.
I'm not sure of his status, but what I read from here, he said he's been in that, I think, in custody for more than 3 years. So whether he's convicted or not, I've never investigated.
Waiting trial for 3 years, a bit long.
There are a lot of people that can be waiting trials for many years in our facilities.
Like in the Senzo Moyewa. But so his name appears to be Jermaine Prim. It's right at the end of this letter, just above the digit 8, Jermaine Prim.
Yeah, right at the end is written Jermaine Prim, and he signed it.
Yeah. Now, this letter is Jermaine Prim, the author of this letter. Is he writing this letter on the basis of information that he's now getting from Busikat Matlala?
What I was informed is that this person was in the same correctional facility with Ket Matlala, and he interacted with Ket Matlala throughout the whole process. In a matter of fact, what the information I have is that it was just the two of them in the cell.
Now, you haven't verified this for yourself or through your investigating team or through any investigating team?
Yeah, well, no. I've shared this information with the team in Gauteng as they are investigating some other cases in Gauteng, but not necessarily me, myself, to get involved with that investigation.
Now, you agree that there are a lot of names in this letter?
According to what is written, this man, because I established as to how did he gather the information. Information I got is that Ket was telling him things, and he will take a pen and a paper and he will write these things down without Ket knowing at a time. So that's why I was worried about this coming out in public, that maybe his life will be in danger. And he said, no, he's no longer even in the same facilities, so he doesn't mind. We can make this public. What he writes here is stories that he was told by Ket inside that correctional center. But he also makes his own remarks about his own issues here that has got other names. As I said, it's not something that has been investigated by me. I'm sure the team that gets to see this, they will interview him and try and get more information, because there are somewhere in this statement of his where he makes some allegations against some of our senior public figures of government. But that is in brief. I would say more than 90% of what is here, it's what is been told to him by Ket Matlala.
Now, what makes you believe that this letter or copy of this letter is authentic, and that is indeed what Jermaine records, what Kat is telling him? They obviously have a lot of time to do this sitting together in a cell the whole day.
Honorable Chair, the things that are mentioned here are matters that some of them I was not aware. One of them is I did not know how the minister obtained Kat's affidavit that he came to present here. I did not know that. I never investigated, but it was presented before this ad hoc committee. Some of the things that are mentioned here include the meeting that myself and Kat had in Durban. It's mentioned in this letter because Kat told him that. So this person wrote the things that had not been made public, both in this ad hoc committee as well as at Madlanga Commission. So it is there that made me believe afterwards that this person is legit on what he's talking about. The stories that he's putting out there from Kat, at least, might need to be considered and be investigated further, because we have already had some of these things that he's talking about. And this was before a lot of these things presented, and I think it's something that happened before even the minister came to testify, if I'm not mistaken. There's no date on the letter when he wrote it, but when I inquired, was that when the father of this Mtlamulo went to collect it, they gave it to me 2 days after collection of this document. So obviously need to be verified, some of these things, whether are there any facts on them or not. But it's stories that later, when testimonies are presented at the commission as well as here, they collaborate some of the information that is here. Issues of Ekurhuleni, amongst others.
So we need to be clear that this letter constitutes hearsay.
Yeah, it is indeed, until the author is tested on it. But from my side, as I said, I'm the third person that receives it. The person gave it to a gentleman, the gentleman gave it to my cousin brought it to me.
Sort of triple hearsay.
Yeah. Part of why I'm giving it here is because he explains the how part of an affidavit that the minister brought before this committee, how it was obtained, and then the relationship, it seems, between himself and the minister, that seems to be in a way direct, not indirect as we presented, because all along we've been seeing Minister Mkhunu as communicating with CAT via other people like Mkhotsi and amongst others, but not a direct conversation.
Yeah, I want to go to that part
Yep.
only of the letter that is relevant to what you're saying. But well, obviously it's up to the honourable members if they want to ask you questions or examine you on any other part of the letter, but it just seems to me to be almost irresponsible also to refer to other aspects where a number of prominent personalities are mentioned in this letter. But as you rightly say, this all needs to be investigated, or is maybe the subject of investigation, we don't know. Now, the relevant paragraph is the one, honourable members, it's marked number digit 2, it's circled. I think it's still, yeah, it's still on page 1. Do you have it, General?
Yes, yes, I said.
Is this the part? On the 22nd of September, is that I received legal visit from my attorney, Natasha, somebody, or can you pronounce that surname? Oh, it's not. On arrival at the legal visit, I found Vusi Matlala there. There were 2 white guys there to see him, in brackets, lawyers, close brackets. They handed him a paper to sign. He took it and signed it and handed it back. He did not even read through it. He then left and continued my legal visit. Upon arrival back at the section, I asked him who those lawyers are, because I know Hodis, and it was not him. It was also definitely not Nkwashu. He then told me that they are Senzo Mkhunu's lawyers and that they asked him to sign a statement saying he doesn't know Mkhunu. And then paragraph 3, when Vusi Matlala arrived in CMAX in July 2025, he told me that he funded Senzo Mkhunu's election campaign as Mkhunu was campaigning to be the president of South Africa. He also said he gave him money for the ANC January, in brackets, I think January, and he's got 18, conference, which they have yearly. He said just for the January conference, he gave him over 4 million rand. I was shocked because I've been in CMAX for 3 years. We don't have radios, newspapers, or TV, so I didn't know all this was happening. He told me Senzo Mkhunu is the Minister of Police. He also told me about his case and the police. We spoke daily. He said that he's friends with Sadrak Shabia, who is head of investigations and detectives in SAPS. He went in depth and said that Sabia told him to open a case against Mkhwanazi. He said Sabia gave him information of the special task force having kidnapped some lady who works at forensics and then seizing her computer. Sabia also told him that Mkhwanazi is under investigation. He told me many other things about Sabia. Then paragraph 4, a few days after signing the statement, which Mkhunu sent for Vusi, he told me that Mkhunu sent a message to his wife explaining that he is happy, that Vusi must just sit tight, and in quotation marks, help is on the way, close quotation marks. Vusi said, he said, help, all in capital letters. So, General, is that the part that you wanted to highlight for the purposes of this discussion about Minister Mkhunu?
Honorable Chair, in this 8-page statement has got too many things that are relevant to this committee. Too many beyond this one. These of the statement of Minister Mkhunu doesn't start on paragraph 2, it starts from paragraph 1. The events that happened before the lawyers were spotted in prison. That's what I'm saying is something can be investigated. If the phone records and the visitors registers of these correctional services will be able to prove whether such visits happened, was this statement obtained from the prison, and so forth. This person is telling what Kat told him. But beyond this, Honorable Chair, this person talks about things that we did not talk about here. And one of them was the meeting between myself and Vusmus Matlala in Durban. It is here in the statement because Vusmus Matlala told him about it. That's why he makes a reference to it.
I wanted to get there after.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Chair, is that there's just too many other things that are here that might be relevant. There is Katiso Malife's issues here that this man is talking about. There are border issues here that are part of the letter of the minister. So there's drug issues that have been spoken about in this letter. So if we're going to only take one paragraph and exclude the others, we might miss something. It is something that
sorry,
I'm present.
just a correction. It's not what I can't tell you what to testify to, what to say. This is a document you've presented to us.
Yes.
If you want to go through the entire document and discuss it, then feel free to do so.
Okay.
I was honing in just on the one aspect, which is the
letter, the statement.
The statement
of the minister
that the minister had made to us under oath, and there appears to be some other version which is hearsay at this stage and which needs to be corroborated. But if there's anything else in the letter or the whole letter that you feel you want to discuss, then you must feel free to do that.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, SC, you've touched on the events that this person is talking about, what he saw with his own eyes inside the correctional service. But what also transpired is right at the beginning on the 9th of September on paragraph 1, which I will also want to invite you to first take that part. And so after reading that part, then you can be able to link up with number 2. And that first part, and I don't know if you want me to read it.
Okay, I'll read it. On the 9th or the 10th of September, there was a conference call between Shamila Batoy, Senzo Mkhunu, Lawrence Otis, Musi Matlala's advocate, and SAPS General, which he didn't name.
It's just an issue about which September they're talking about in the statement, because it's not detailed. Which year is that?
Chair, if I may respond to that. The statement is as it stands. So the person who's an author, that's why I'm saying that this needs to be investigated further, because the person who's an author that wrote it like this. So the years honorable member is asking is not written, and I cannot say it is which year. It is my assumption that this happened when Kat Matlala was in custody. So if it happened when I was in custody, it might mean September 2025. But I'm not an author. I cannot guarantee. I don't want Honorable James to go to prison, police station again, and open a case against me.
Honorable James.
Sorry, Adams. Did I say James? My apologies, Honorable James. Honorable Adams, I meant to say. My apologies.
Allow me, Chair, because you said no earlier on. Apologies, I have a clarity seeking question. General Nasi.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you profile, number one, you know what is concerning here? Did you profile Jermaine Prim? That is the first thing I want to ask you. Secondly, I'm thinking now if it's coincidence that all three these people, Kat Matlala, Bester, and Jermaine, are all allegedly in CMAX. So the only way that Jermaine can listen to conversations of Kat Matlala is if he's on a cell phone. How do you explain Mr. Matlala then having a cell phone in CMAX? That's my first concern. My second concern is that Tabu Bester is also in that same block in CMAX. We've now received correspondence from Bester, from Jermaine Prim, and we've heard from Mr. Matlala. I am worried. I have background, without compromising myself for this. I think I'm going to leave it at they are in CMAX. Why do they have access to cell phones? I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I'm not sure if I can maybe just make some comment, and maybe as a follow-up to what Honorable James is raising. I'm trying to find the actual paragraph here, but in this statement of this gentleman, this person alleges that Kat Matlala has freedom inside the CMAX. He is very close with the head of the facility. That's why he can get around and can get things done with ease. So it then explains that, and he says he was sharing a cell block with the two of them. They were together. Obviously, we found the cell phone thanks to the Commission of Correctional Services that dispatched in a suspicion after the address that something might be happening in that cell. So the commissioner phoned me to send people to go, he said he sent people to go to the cell and they found the phone. And luckily that phone has helped us with a lot of these things we investigated. How did the phone get to Kat inside the cell? It's again a question mark, but what this man is saying, the relationship that Kat has with the head of the center and some officials within that center, it's clear that Kat can get whatever he likes inside that place. I'm not going to explain part of the reasons why there was a motivation for him to move away from there, but that's part of the problems that has been experienced, which the head of correctional service, the commission, also identified. Thank you.
Thank you. General, just as a matter of information, perhaps, well, you would know. You know that Radovan Krecha was also there at Khosi Mapuru. In fact, he may still have been there when the Honorable Committee had a sitting there. You know that or knew that? Radovan Krecha was also at Khosi Mapuru.
No, I was not involved in Krecha. I know he was in custody, but I never pay attention until I get to know about the KZN leg of it.
I'm saying this because perhaps the author of the letter was mistaken, because the name of Miss Natasha, I think the spelling is Otrebski, Otrepski. She is Krecha's attorney. And he was also there, and that paragraph mentions her legal visit. Also claiming to be his attorney, the author. Jermaine's attorney.
Yeah, well, I think there's quite a lot of lawyers that are representing dodgy characters in our country. You just have to go in the system and check who is the lawyers ever appeared on behalf of Boardcat, whether is it Jermaine guy, whether is it Thabo Bester, whether is I know of a controversial lawyer that has also been part of the AKA murder in KZN, which are controversial figures. But I'm not a legal person to say much about it. It's just an interesting thing to notice as a police.
So we went back to paragraph 1. It said on the 9th or the 10th of September, there was a conference call between Shamila Batoy, Senzo Mkhunu, Lawrence Odes, Vusi Matlala's advocate, and SAPS General, which he didn't name. Odes added victim Kwashu to the call. The reason for Odes adding Kwashu was for Kwashu to facilitate what was being discussed. The plan and reason for the call was to get Vusi Matlala to sign an affidavit that states he doesn't know Senzo Mkhunu. Apparently, Kwashu told him to first show good faith by granting Vusi bail. He then refused to take any part in it unless they signed or they granted Vusi bail. First, Vusi was quite angry that Kwashu refused to facilitate this. Vusi then explained to me that Odes and Shamila are good friends and that Shamila and Senzo Mkhunu are also very close. That is why Shamila Batoy is trying to help Senzo Mkhunu. Vusi also said that Andrea Johnson was also part of the discussion and that she's on board. I also know that there were people from IDEC at the prison to see Vusi on more than one occasion. He explained to me that the purpose of the visit was for him to help them discredit General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. He apparently said he was at Mkhwanazi's apartment in Umhlanga, and it's called the Pearls of, not sure what pearls of what. So General, that you say is also then, and it's something I wanted to come to, which is a matter that you also didn't tell us in your affidavit or in your oral evidence. Just raise this. It was mentioned to us for the first time. The allegations of vegetables here. This was stated in Mr. Matlala's affidavit at paragraph 126, meeting with General Mkhwanazi. I met Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi at the Pearls. Is that the Pearls he's referring to in this handwritten letter?
Yeah, well, this is, I believe, what this gentleman had was told by Ket Matlala,
yes,
even before the ad hoc committee went to hear from Ket Matlala himself.
Yeah.
That's why I have no reason to doubt some of the content that he wrote here.
So Matlala said, I met Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi at Pearls of Umhlanga on 15 April 2025. Minister Cele had arranged for me to meet him. This was the result of my interaction with Minister Cele regarding issues with my SAPS contract. Minister Cele advised me that he knew Lieutenant General Mkhua, but the person who was very close to her was Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Before we proceeded to the meeting, I contacted Lieutenant General Sinona, who is also the head of the Hawks in KZN, as I was not comfortable to meet Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi alone. I first ran this by Minister Nkele, and he okayed it with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. The meeting was scheduled at the Pearls, and upon arrival, we met him outside. He told us to follow him, went up in an elevator to what I assumed was his apartment because he offered us drinks that were in the fridge. During the meeting, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi told me that he had heard I had problems with my contract, but he also has problems which he needed to assist him with. He acknowledged that I had been complaining a lot about my contract and saying that they weren't paying on time and not sending enough purchase orders. He then said to help my contract flow, I needed to cooperate because he was very close to Lieutenant General Kua, the head of human resources who oversaw my contract. Lieutenant General Kwenazi essentially stated that Lieutenant General Kua is a stumbling block, quote unquote, and is collaborating with the previous service provider, Metropolitan. He even claimed that she had purchased properties, converted them into bed and breakfast, and used money from Metropolitan, suggesting corruption because her salary could not cover such purchases. Lieutenant General Kwenazi provided me with the address of her latest purchase, which was a house in Pretoria East. The message I got was clear. If I wanted my contract to proceed smoothly, I would need to, quote, work with her and give her money, unquote, or my contract would be terminated. He was indicating that police officers, even generals, could afford these things because they collaborated with service providers like myself. Lieutenant General Kwenazi indicated to me that he knew I owned a property in Midstream Estate. He further indicated that he had a problem with a person in the same estate and asked whether I knew a person by the name of Ishmael Nangi. I informed him that I knew this person, but I was close to him, but I knew my son and his son attended the same school and my wife and his wife knew each other. I informed him I would request my wife to set up a meeting with him.